My name lit up the Ice King's arena before I even understood what I was to him. 18,000 people saw my face on that screen. I was wearing a dress I didn't buy, sitting in a box I didn't belong in, next to a man I had married on paper only weeks earlier. And somewhere below, in the VIP section, my ex-husband was watching. But that night, the night it all started, none of that had happened yet. That night, I was sitting on a bench outside the courthouse in the same blouse I had worn to sign my divorce papers, scrolling through local classifieds with freezing fingers. Then I saw it. Seeking a full-time live-in companion for a child. Age and background not important. Patience required. Room and board provided. That was all I needed to see. I had no apartment, no savings, and one suitcase I had packed in 15 minutes while Ryan's family watched from the hallway like I was a stain being removed from their house. Room and board meant I would not have to sleep in my car tonight. So I called. The GPS took me outside Boston, past the last of the city lights, toward a gated estate hidden behind old trees. The main house was huge, but what stopped me was the building connected to it by a glass corridor, a private indoor rink. Cold blue light spilled through the windows, reflecting off the ice like moonlight. This did not look like someone hiring a babysitter. It looked like a training compound. I rang the bell. A silver-haired butler opened the door, looked me over once, and led me through a hallway lined with framed jerseys and photographs I was too nervous to study. Before he opened the dining room doors, he stopped.
Let me be clear, Miss Calloway. Mr. Hale is hiring a mother for the boy, not a woman for himself. He is an exceptionally private man. Do not develop ideas above your station.
I had signed divorce papers that morning. The last thing on earth I wanted was another man.
Understood.
I said.
No ideas.
The butler opened the doors. At the long table, a man was holding a spoon toward a small boy who refused to open his mouth. They were locked in a silent war. Then the man turned around. I had seen that face on ESPN. Dominic Hale, the Ice King, retired NHL legend, two-time MVP, owner of Boston's most powerful hockey franchise. The man whose face had sold out arenas, magazine covers, and every billboard on the I-93 for a decade. The kind of man people did not approach unless he allowed it. And the kind of face that made you forget why you'd walked into the room. Dominic Hale looked nothing like a man who needed to post a classified ad for help. He wore a light-colored Henley with the sleeves pushed to his elbows, the top buttons undone just enough to show the base of his throat and the hard line of one collarbone. His forearms were lean and corded, shaped by years of gripping a stick and taking hits, not by posing in a gym mirror. In front of him, the little boy sat with his lips pressed tightly shut. Dominic lowered the spoon. For a moment, no one moved. Then he sighed.
One bite, Noah. Just one.
The boy turned his face away. The butler stepped forward.
Another applicant, sir. This one seems sensible.
Dominic's gaze drifted to me, dark eyes, unreadable.
What's your name?
Emma Calloway.
He gave a faint nod, then held out the bowl.
You try.
So this was the interview. If I failed, I would probably be back in my car before midnight. I took it, took a breath, and turned toward the boy. I did not even make it 2 steps before he shot under the table like a startled animal.
Get her out. I don't want another fake mom.
So the kid had been through this before, multiple times, judging by how fast he'd bolted. I glanced around the room. Hockey everywhere. Miniature player figurines on the shelf. A plush bear in a team jersey. A tiny stick propped against the wall. I grabbed the bear and 2 figurines, crouched down, and set them in a row next to Noah under the table. Then I started feeding them.
Captain Bear needs protein before overtime. Eat up, big guy. Goalie Moose, you can't stop a single puck on an empty stomach. Open wide.
Noah was staring at me. I ignored him completely.
And this broccoli is for the rookie. He wants to grow strong enough to make the roster.
Noah's nostrils flared.
Why does the goalie get chicken? I'm the captain.
Oh, there's an actual captain under the table? Sorry, I only feed players who are on the roster.
He opened his mouth so fast I barely got the spoon up in time. He ate half the bowl, then glared at me.
Why aren't you giving me vegetables? Are you scared I'll be better than Captain Bear? Mean lady.
I turned around. Dominic Hale was still at the head of the table, arms crossed. The tension in his face had melted. He was almost smiling. That night, I moved into a room on the 2nd floor. Harold walked me there, then paused at the staircase leading up.
The 3rd floor is off limits. The rink after midnight, also off limits. The last woman who snuck upstairs was escorted out by security before sunrise.
The next afternoon, Dominic came home from the team office to find this. His son sitting on the front lawn in an oversized team jersey that hung past his knees, a crooked captaincy taped to his chest, and one of Dominic's old practice helmets sitting lopsided on his head. Beside him sat an enormous golden retriever, and me, standing over them with a bowl of rice.
Training camp rule: 1 bite for the mascot,
I dropped a tiny piece into Biscuit's bowl.
1 bite for the captain.
Noah opened his mouth. Biscuit got another bite. Noah got another bite. They were neck and neck and deeply committed to winning. Dominic's face went dark.
Emma, are you feeding my son like a team mascot?
I looked at him with complete sincerity.
No, sir, the mascot is eating slower.
He stared at me, then at his son, then at the dog. Noah barked.
Woof! Dad, I already ate 2 bowls. I'm gonna crush Biscuit. Woof!
Harold stepped forward, visibly struggling to keep a straight face.
Sir, her methods are unconventional. But he hasn't eaten this much in months.
Dominic watched his son shovel food into his mouth with competitive fury. His jaw worked, his lips pressed into a thin line. Then he exhaled.
At least use separate bowls for the boy and the dog.
Don't worry, sir. Biscuit has standards. He won't touch Noah's bowl.
Dominic turned and walked into the house without another word. What I didn't know was that he had been watching from the second-floor window. Noah and Biscuit were racing around the garden, Noah laughing so hard he could barely run. Harold stood beside Dominic, shaking his head.
Sir, this woman is something else. One day, and the boy is eating, laughing, running around outside.
That evening, Dominic called me into the living room.
You're good with children. Have you had your own?
No, but I spent 2 years looking after my ex-husband's sister's kids.
Your file says you studied kinesiology.
I did. I worked at a sports rehab clinic halfway through my athletic trainer certification until my ex-husband asked me to quit.
Why?
He said it wasn't appropriate for his wife to have her hands on other men's bodies.
Something shifted behind Dominic's eyes, but he did not comment.
Noah lost his mother. Since then, he won't leave the house, won't go to daycare, won't eat properly, and won't let any woman near him.
Then he looked at me.
I don't need a babysitter, Emma. I need someone who will stay.
I froze.
What does that mean?
Marriage. Separate rooms, separate lives. $10,000 a month for personal expenses. Room and breath separate. Medical expenses covered.
In my last marriage, I had learned one thing. Promises were useless if you left with nothing.
If we divorce, can I keep the money?
Dominic's eyes darkened for a second.
Of course. It's yours.
Then okay.
3 days after my divorce, I got married again. That evening, Dominic held out a ring box.
Oh, you don't have to.
For Noah?
Right. Of course. Thank you.
I slipped it on. It fit perfectly. I decided not to think about that. That night, I barely turned off the light when my bedroom door creaked open. Noah stood in the hallway in his pajamas, clutching the plush team bear to his chest. He looked like he was fighting an internal war.
Emma,
He bit his lip.
can you read me a story? I'll tell my dad to pay you extra, but if you don't want to, that's fine.
He said it quickly, like he'd rehearsed. Something cracked in my chest.
Get in here.
I pulled back the covers. He climbed in, small and warm, and tucked himself against my side like he'd been doing it his whole life. I read him 3 chapters of a picture book about a bear who was afraid of snow. By the 2nd chapter, he was asleep. The next morning, Harold saw Noah come out of my room and nearly dropped the breakfast tray.
Sir, the boy hasn't slept in anyone's room since his mother died.
Dominic looked at me across the breakfast table. Something raw passed through his expression.
I'll add $5,000 to your monthly allowance.
No, that's too much. I only read him a story.
Before Dominic could answer, a small hand slipped into mine. Noah stood beside my chair, clutching his bear with his other hand. His little face was serious, but his dark eyes were round and hopeful. I looked at him, then I swallowed the rest of my refusal. Dominic looked down at Noah's hand in mine.
The raise stands.
From that day on, Noah became my shadow. He followed me to the kitchen. He followed me to the garden. When I read, he sat beside me with his plush bear in his lap, not reading, not talking, just staying close. Dominic was busy most days, so for long stretches, it was only the two of us in that huge house. Until the morning I had to go to the hospital for a follow-up and a medication refill. Harold had warned me before, Noah couldn't leave the estate. If he stepped outside the gates, he might panic. So I knelt in front of him.
I'll be back before lunch. You can play with Biscuit while I'm gone, okay?
Noah grabbed my hand. He didn't speak. He only looked at me with those dark, terrified eyes. Harold sighed softly.
He's afraid you'll leave and not come back.
My heart squeezed. I touched Noah's hair.
I'm not leaving. I'm seeing the doctor, then I'll come back and read to you.
I was still explaining when Noah let go of my hand. Then he turned around, walked to the car, and climbed into his booster seat by himself. Harold froze.
Noah?
Noah buckled himself in, lips pressed tight, hands trembling. Harold's eyes went red.
God bless us. That boy hasn't stepped outside the gate since his mother died.